Welcome back to Films Recapped. Today I will show you a classic American movie from 1999, titled Fight Club. Warning: spoilers ahead. Watch out and enjoy. Sweating heavily, a man is tied to a chair and another man holds a gun in his mouth. As the narrator, he tells us that it's hard to think of anything else when you're in that situation, even the soon-to-be-destroyed building you're in. But that's not where this story begins, not really. Flashback to a year ago. The narrator is attending a support group for men with testicular cancer and is not so excitedly comforting a man named Bob. The narrator himself doesn't have this disease, though he has insomnia. To try to cure himself from this and his boring day job, he attends various support groups and pretends to have illnesses that he doesn't. He finds that these meetings help him to let go, and that allows him to finally get some sleep. These meetings are all well and good for him until he runs into another faker, Marla Singer. Marla starts showing up to all of the narrator's meetings, and he is worried that she'll blow both of their covers. Unfortunately, with her appearance, his sleep disappears again. However, the two decide to split up the groups that they attend so that only one faker will be at each one. Although the two made this arrangement, he was still finding sleep elusive and his day job to be monotonous. The narrator is a recall coordinator, meaning, he travels across the nation to car accident sites and evaluates the remains of the car to decide if a recall for a certain part should be announced. It is on his way back home from one of these trips that he meets Tyler Durden. Tyler is a soap salesman, along with doing several other side gigs, and soon to be the narrator's roommate. After returning home from a business trip, he finds that his condo, along with all of his belongings, has been destroyed in a freak explosion. With no one else to lean on, he calls Tyler. The two meet up for drinks and Tyler tells the narrator that he is trapped in society's obsession with consumerism. He tells him that he's overreacting, it's just stuff that was lost. While this isn't exactly the type of comforting the narrator was looking for, it does help him to look more on the bright side of the situation, or at least not the dark side. Tyler then offers to let the narrator stay with him, but only with one exception. The narrator needs to hit Tyler as hard as he can. He does, and the two end up enjoying the feeling they get from fighting each other and they agree to do it again. The narrator then moves into Tyler's house, which is a completely run-down place that may or may not be legal for them to be living there. As the two continue to get drunk and fight each other, they start to attract larger crowds of men who also seem to need the thrill of getting hit. Eventually, the fight club gets so large that they move from the parking lot into the basement of a bar. They meet every Friday night and come up with a series of rules to keep the group organized and semi-safe, though the rules do not stop injuries from happening. Through adrenaline, Fight Club brings about a new sense of life to the men in the group. After 2 months of attending Fight Club and none of the support groups from before, Marla reaches out to the narrator. She calls while overdosing on Xanax to check on him and as a cry for help. The narrator ignores her and leaves the phone call without hanging it up. This leads Tyler to pick up the call and help her. He takes her to his house and they have a wild night that grows into a sexual relationship. Tyler then mysteriously tells the narrator to never talk to Marla, or anyone for that matter, about him. With Marla invading his home and the success of Fight Club, work has become even less important to the narrator than before. He shows up to work with bloody clothes and starts smoking in his office, and is eventually asked to go home and get himself put back together. It is during this time that he gets a phone call from the police department about his condo. Apparently, the explosion was no freak accident like they previously thought, but was from a homemade bomb. During this conversation, Tyler hovers around the narrator and interjects with some rather radical ideas, including that the narrator destroyed his own home. One night, Tyler tells the narrator that it's time for him to make another batch of soap. To do this, he needs human fat that they steal some from a nearby liposuction clinic. Tyler then gives the narrator a chemistry lesson and a chemical burn from the lie. Although the lesson starts in chemistry, Tyler again talks about radical ideologies, needing to reach rock bottom, and leads into an anti-consumerism and anti-religious rant. It is only after the narrator gives in to his ramblings and embraces the pain that Tyler pours vinegar onto the wound to neutralize it. As the narrator is walking down the street one evening, he runs into Bob, the man from the testicular cancer support group. They catch up a bit and it is revealed that Bob is also a member of the Fight Club, only he attends on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It appears that Tyler has been recruiting new members and expanding on his own. Tyler has also been sharing his more radical thoughts at Fight Club. Then, without the narrator's knowledge, Tyler starts to recruit Fight Club members for his own anti-materialist and anti-corporate group called Project Mayhem. One evening at Fight Club, the owner of the bar shows up. The arrangement to use the basement had been made with the manager of the bar. The owner had no idea that this type of thing was happening. Tyler confronts the man and lets him repeatedly hit him before inviting him to join the group. He then jumps on the owner and intentionally sprays his blood all over the man's face until he agrees to let Fight Club continue to use the basement. Back at work, the narrator accidentally leaves a copy of the Fight Club rules in a shared office space and his boss finds it. The narrator talks back to his boss. Gone is the passive man from before, and here is a man that sounds more and more like Tyler. He starts to hit himself and destroy the office. He blackmails his boss into letting him keep a false job while still receiving a paycheck. Fight Club is now able to be a daily occurrence with daily homework assignments. The homework gets more and more violent, and causes more and more destruction. The assignments range from busting headlights to destroying for sale computers. Always, though, they focus on humbling the elite and targeting consumerism. Tyler even goes so far as to threaten a man's life. He lets the man live on the condition that the man take the appropriate steps to follow his dream of becoming a veterinarian. As the assignments get more violent, the narrator gets more disturbed with the direction that his friend is taking Fight Club. As she is leaving the house one morning, Marla and the narrator get into an argument. During it, she sees the scar from the chemical burn and frets over what he has been getting into. Rather than explaining anything, the narrator takes cues from Tyler and repeats what he says to her, ending the conversation. The narrator then learns that Tyler has started to recruit from Fight Club to become a sort of army. They move into the dilapidated house and start to make larger strikes against the city. They work up to arson, and threatening a public official into keeping quiet about their activity. During this time, the narrator becomes more removed from the group and eventually confronts Tyler about this. During this argument, Tyler tries again to help the narrator reach his rock bottom by intentionally crashing the car they are in. Right before doing this, he reveals that he is the one that caused the narrator's condo to blow up. One day, the narrator wakes up to realize that Project Mayhem has grown into something likened to a living organism that only Tyler has any control over, and that Tyler has disappeared. That same night, Bob, who the narrator has grown to truly care about, is killed by the police. He was on an assignment given by Tyler and was shot in the head as he was fleeing the crime scene. This leads the narrator to try to shut down the project, though by this point it has expanded across the nation. He visits cities that he knows Tyler has been to, going into bars like the one Fight Club started in and asking for any information on his missing friend. Every place he goes he finds the seeds of Tyler's doings. Until one place he visits he is referred to as Mr. Durden. This confuses and scares the narrator, so he calls Marla to try to clear things up. This only leads him to be more dazed, as she also thinks that he is Tyler. Tyler appears in the narrator's hotel room and reveals that he is him. The narrator suffers from a dissociative personality and Tyler is a personality that he created to deal with his insomnia and intensely mundane life. Tyler is everything that the narrator wishes he could be and the opposite of everything he is. He tries to apologize to Marla and to warn her that she isn't safe, that members of Project Mayhem will come after her. She won't listen to him though, and blames their poor relationship on his erratic and intolerable behavior. In one last attempt to get her to safety, the narrator tells her to get out of the city, all major cities, for a while, but won't tell her why. Instead of listening to what he really has to say, she tells him to seek psychological help. When he returns to the house, the narrator finds that it is empty of people, but full of ingredients for bombs. He goes through the papers they left and discovers Tyler's master plan. He wants to erase people's debt by destroying a series of buildings that house credit card companies. He tries to call the companies and the police to warn them that something bad is coming, just to realize that both are manned by members of Project Mayhem. The narrator flees and breaks into one of the buildings set for destruction. He tries to disarm the bomb, but is caught and subdued by Tyler. Now, we are back to where the film began with Tyler holding a gun in the narrator's mouth. He might have known before that he was Tyler, but he is finally able to accept the truth in that fact. He realizes that the gun isn't in Tyler's hand, it's in his own. The narrator puts the gun into his own mouth and shoots. He kills the projection of Tyler and now it is just the narrator in his own mind. Several Project Mayhem members enter the room with a kidnapped Marla and the narrator tells them to let her go. The men all leave and it is just Marla and the narrator standing alone together. She sees all the blood on him and is concerned for his health. He tells her not to worry and that everything will be okay. As he finishes saying this, he takes her hand and the two of them watch as many of the skyscrapers around them are destroyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.